ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Red Bull Ring, one of the most renowned racetracks in the world, situated in the stunning mountains of Austria. This high-speed circuit has been host to some of the most electrifying races in recent history. With its technical layout and challenging turns, the Red Bull Ring offers a unique challenge to drivers reaching speeds of up to 300 kilometers on its long straight. From its reopening in 2011, the Red Bull Ring has become a staple of the Formula One calendar and is the must-visit destination for motorsports fans. So buckle up, get ready for an unforgettable experience here this evening at the Red Bull Ring. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I am James Parfitt. Joining me alongside me, as you can see, is the one and only Daan Pepels. 4.318 kilometres of racetrack, 2.683 miles. 10 turns this evening, not many at all. And I think, Dan, to be honest with you, with 90 minutes of racing ahead of us, it should be absolutely iconic. No, but it does equate itself. If we add that corner in, it does equate itself to 11. So if we do take that one away, we do end up with 10. We've got turn 1, which is Nicky Lauda, turn 2, Remus, turn 3, Sloshko. Then we got the run round turn 4 into turn 5, which is Roush. Turn 6 is Worth. Turn 7's on the exit out of Roush. Turn 8 is on the run through down into Rindt. Turn 9 is Rindt. Turn 10 is Red Bull Mobile. And then we're on the start-finish straight. So there we go. Yeah, pretty much. So hold on a minute, Dan. There is apparently no sound on you. A bit bizarre, considering I sorted it all out earlier on. Just say hello again, Dan, for me.
Well, hello, everyone.
You're in now. You're in. I don't know what's
I hope everyone can hear me now.
It's one of these wonderful worlds where you sort it out before, and then it still breaks when you go live. It's great.
Technology. Technology,
amazing.
James.
Yeah, Sven Young-Matheson. No sound on Dan. That's sorted out now. Finally, some entertainment. Bored to death. Oh, Sven Young, what were your family and your wife? How are you bored? I suppose you're not on the racetrack. Where are you this evening? Why are you not here anyway?
Yeah, good question.
Where is Sven Young tonight? What are you doing tonight, Sven Young-Matheson?
Is he maybe too tired because he watched the Butters 12 hours and it's complete, like I did?
Why? I'm a motorsport fan, but I can't sit there for 12 hours and watch the TV.
Oh, I can.
No, definitely. I did watch the Red Bull car go up through the mountain though, so that was quite interesting. I got a little bit excited about that. That was about it, really.
I think.
Oh, and also as well, I'd like to point out. Shush a minute, shush. Got to shush. Earlier on, we had a conversation that Tottenham Hotspurs were playing Man City, and you said Spurs wouldn't win. Well, they did. 1-0.
Well, great.
I know.
I mean,
thank you very much.
I'm all for Man United and Erik ten Hag, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for racing. And what I was going to say is that we've had, I think a week ago, in another championship, we had F1 cars going up the mountain.
Yes, we did.
And, well, people say that it's almost impossible to, get a car through there. But I think that proved, although not on full push, but, it proved that it is possible, no matter what.
Well, they were pushing full bore because they were entering into Skyline in 7th gear, mind you. So they were kind of going for it. And they did make it through successfully, to be honest. We only lost, I think it was one car due to the mountain, and that was the LSRL F1. So go and have a look back at that. That was last Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So go and have a look back. Evening, Ivan Bremer. Haaland as topic. Yeah, well, he didn't do too well. Spurs beat them, so there we go. But what more can we ask for? We are here at the Red Bull Ring for the Radical Endurance. 90 minutes of racing here this evening, and we've got 19 cars currently on track. So all in all, it's going to be an interesting one, guys. But let's switch over to the race screen, and we'll bring you up to date with all the championship standings. Okay, so currently on your screen is the Pro Championship. As you can see, currently at the moment, Rudolf Nagel is leading the way on 511 points, with Mike Buson in second on 512. Kettle Larson in third, up one from last week, 2 weeks ago on 391. Daniel Sedgley down one on 375. Stephen Place up one on 347. David Waters down one on 304. But John McHutchinson climbing 2 places up into 7th place on 286. Lucas Dozer down 2 on 259. Paul Clark from iLounge Racing from 231. Paul Crabb on 220. Taya Sattenberg on 154. Sven-Jön Mattsson on 145. You're down in 13th, buddy. Ivan Bramer down in 14th on 81. Henning Haig on 76. Marnik Heister on 61. Rafael Blanco down in 17th place there on 47 points. Now, in the AMs, it's a little bit more interesting. You've got Paul LeMay on 291, leading the way from Damien G on 217. David Rolliston on 178. Gary Truby on 171. Guy Robinson on 161. Michael LeMay on 149. Byron Crawford on 148. Stefan Mellis on 107. Colin Wynn on 77. Graham Brown on 75. Daniele Cascado on 68. Sandra Capella on 64, Alphonse Ruse on 35, Nia Gluskic on 32, and Maren Grigic on 25 points. Now in the pro team standards, we currently have Team Redline on the top on 826 from SimRC on 770, Tiger Team on 482, IGL Coatings E-Racing on 291, Iron Lounge Racing Team 231, Team Slomo Black on 230, Team Slomo Red on 145, Platinum Racing Team on 142, Made on 100, and MJX Racing on 25. In the AM Championship, it is between Two Brothers Racing on 440 and Red Sport Sim Racing on 388, with Made on 100, Essential Racing Team on 64, HRT on 35, and MJX Racing Team behind that on 25 points. So there we go. That is you up to date here in the championship standings. Rudolf Nagel leading the way. Now, I did get sent some very varied, random information earlier on, Dan. I've got to be honest. Sandro Capello, who, as we know, runs a league. Sandro Capella, sorry, runs a league. And he messaged me earlier on, and he was like, James. I was like, yes, Sandro. So I've got some information for you. I was like, okay, what information have you got for me? Expecting it to be somewhat incredible and well informed of information that I need to know, right? Because, you know, it's important as the broadcaster of this league. FYI, he puts, Nagel is a
For
German...
the people who don't know what that is, that's for your information.
For your information, sorry. Nagel, Rudolf Nagel, is the German term for nail.
Okay. Well,
I know.
There you go.
That's exactly what I thought when I got the message through. He tells me it's the German term for nail. So Rudolf Nail is leading the way. I'm not really sure. But there we go. Have a good one tonight. We will try, Ivan, and you, buddy. Hope you get on well. Where are you there? You're in the championship. You're in the standings currently in 11th place. So good job. Can the legend Nagel be beaten? I think he will fly away after 38 minutes into the race. We got to push Nagel to join the sprint series. Would be fun to see him there, says Sven-Jön Mattsson. Well, maybe it will be. We do have basically about 38 seconds before we go into qualifying. What do we reckon, Dan? Is Nagel beatable or is he not? Because at the moment, he's flying away with it, isn't he?
Well, we've said it a couple of times now, and he's just always there. Of course, last race at Catalunya, he won again. And I say again because I can tell you that that was round 8, and that was Rudolf Nagel's 5th victory. So, yeah, he won again. And, well, if you're consistently there, also the races that he didn't win, for example, at Bathurst, he was 2nd. Round 5, well, he wasn't in the top 3. I don't think he took part in round 5. I don't think he was quite there in round 5. I think he missed that one. But in round 4, he was also P2. So if he isn't there, well, he doesn't finish. If he is there, he finishes either 1st or 2nd. So that's how you win championships.
Well, Svenja's just beaten a message in chat, and he did put Daniel Sedgley did beat him in Fuji. Now, that was a very long time ago. So
That is round 4.
Yeah.
That was round 4,
Round 4.
at Fuji.
Yeah. So he did get beaten in Fuji, but I'm struggling to see anybody managing to beat him. I've got to be honest, but he is out on track currently at the moment. There he is, Rudolf Nagel, just warming up his tyres, going on along nicely. Currently in first place in the championship. I'm struggling to see past Rudolf at the moment, and I'm struggling because of the fact that Daniel Sedgley's not here, John McHutchinson's not here, Sven Matheson's not here. Kettle Larson is, so maybe Kettle can give him a good old go, but I'm worried about that one, to be honest. And then Mike Bousson, who's second in the championship, but I can't see past Nagel. I've got to be honest. He's looking too strong this season, and I think that he's going to produce the goods, and that's what I'm expecting him to do again, to be honest with you, Dan.
Yeah, well, he's always been up there, and well, at this point in the championship, of course, being at round 9 at the moment of the 11 rounds that we will have, he could with a good result, set himself up for a championship-winning round in round 10. So he doesn't have to win. He just will want to continue that consistent streak of performances, or that good consistent streak of performances, and just be there in the top 3 again. When he's here, he's just very quick and always there up at the top. And well,
Difficult to beat
if he can continue that. Yeah, he is. And well, he can be beaten. It has been done by Daniel Sedgley, as said before. He's not unbeatable, but it is difficult to do so, and you have to be on your absolute A game in order for you to do so, because he is very, very quick in this car. I have to say, though, we have seen at some points in some races that he does make mistakes. If you can be there with him and maybe take some advantage of, if he makes a mistake in this race and can take advantage of that, maybe you can try and get away and try and win this race. But that's what you have to do. It's incredible how quick he is, and the fact that you have to be there on his tail for the full 90 minutes in order for you to wait maybe for a mistake just tells you just on what kind of level that Nagel is at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's one of the scariest things, is just how good he actually is, and we're giving him superlatives, but I think they're well-deserved superlatives as well. He produces goods every time he's on track. He's just outstanding the way he deals with it. We have got times coming in. They are going to start coming in thick and fast, as everybody seems to be going around at really the same points. The Gal's on pole on a 1:25.389. Lucas Doza is purple in 1. Clark is purple in 3, as you can see at the bottom. Paul Clark on top on a 1:25. Oh, all right. Kyriakopoulos is us on a 1:25.143. So I got a bit excited because Paul Clark had gone top there. David Walters is on track, and he's currently going just across the line now. He's set 2 purples there. He goes into pole on a 1:24.875. Sandro Capello. Now, Sandro doesn't like being on broadcast very much. He does sometimes, unfortunately, make mistakes when he's on broadcast, which is a little bit bizarre. And yes, he knows he'll be sitting in the car going, I bet James is watching me. I'm like, yes, I am. But it is, at the moment, Walter's on pole on a 1:24.874.
Very quick. The only one at the moment into the 1:24s. As you can see, Kyriakopoulos on a 1:25.1. So the only one into the 1:24s. And well, we're expecting that time to drop down a little bit more, maybe. Maybe down into the 1:24.6s. But a 1:24.8 is already a very, very quick lap time.
It actually is, and we are on board with our primary sponsor this evening in iLoungeRacing.co.uk. Please go and check them out, guys. That you won't be disappointed. They sell everything from sim rigs to normal box standard rigs to half cut out Formula One cars. They're quite amazing with what they do. And we do have a media day next Saturday, so I will be up at iLounge Racing. If you want to come along, get yourself involved, come and say hello. We'll do some interviews and shoot some footage, and then put it all together in a little gorgeous picture for you all, so you can all watch it back on the JPB YouTube channel as well. So Nagel is on pole now on a 1:24.685, and Paul Clark is in second on a 1:24.839. So we've got 4 drivers in the 1:24s, Dan.
Like I said, that time has dropped down to 1:24.6, and that is where we're expecting kind of the pole time to be. But yeah, people now, of course, set a banker lap, are now comfortable to push because they think they have a good lap time in there, and they can now try and extract everything from the car. Don't have to exactly kind of live on the edge now in terms of off tracks. They can take an off track because they have a time on the board and they don't have to be worried to be without time at the end of the session. And in terms of how I would usually do this, I would do it exactly the same. I would put a banker in and then start pushing to the extent of what I have and try and see how far up the grid you can get. But Rudolf Nagal, once again, he's there on a 1:24.4. He's improved his time once again. So yeah, really, really strong there at the front of the field.
Definitely, Paul Clark goes on a 1:24.516, does improve, but not enough to overtake Nagal, who also improved on a 1:24.493. I think it's great that Clark's up there, but we're on board with Kettle Larson on a 1:25.325 currently at the moment. Larson there has got greens across the board, so I'm expecting to see an improvement from him as he goes over the line. Where does he go? He goes into ninth on a 1:25.014. Sedgley on a 1:24.710. To Daniel Sedgley has joined us as well. Lucas Dozer is purple in sector 1. Let's see how he gets on. He's coming around turn 3 currently at the moment at Sloss Gold. So stay tuned, guys. Get your drinks, get your popcorn, get anything you need ready to go this evening, because it is going to be what plans to be an absolute epic evening of racing, and I think from this point of view you are not going to be disappointed. So welcome in if you are here. Don't forget to give the video a big old thumbs up, turn on the bells for notifications, and subscribe for good health here, as we've got a lot of racing still to come on the JPB YouTube channel with the LSRL GT3s at 1:45 in the morning from Oulton Park. So that should be an absolute stellar race. GT3s at Oulton Park, nothing better, gotta be honest. But let's see what Dozer can do as he goes across the line. Then we've got Paul LeMay. He's having an improvement as well, Dan.
Well, let's see where he can go. So I think he's going to park it on the side of the road now. He thinks that lap was not quick enough to improve. There we go. We're looking with Sedgley at the moment. What can he do? Don't go too wide, because an off track there, James. And on the exit here of the last corner, really easy to get. So is the slowdown there in that last corner. And if you get one there, well, I can tell you it's going to lose you loads and loads of time.
Sedgley's on pole, 1:24.289. Daniel Sedgley putting it on pole at the death with 1:42 on the clock. What an absolute incredible lap by Daniel Sedgley there. A 1:24.289. Goes pole position. Paul Clark in third. Dennis Kiriakopoulos in fourth. And Danny Cascado down in 18th place currently at the moment. But Paul Clark there, absolutely stellar job. Now, when I met Paul, we did say he was working on his starts. Last time out, we didn't see him get a good one. I'm hoping he gets a flyer to capitalise on that third place, because that would be absolutely amazing. So let's see how Sedgley gets on here, Dan, because I think he's going to be doing an absolute stellar job. He's just trundling around there. Here is Cascado. Still doing a lap. He's still got, he's on the sort of nearly 5 laps at the moment. So he's still got 50 seconds remaining. But thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to say hello. Don't forget to say who you think is going to be a winner as well. Hashtag them the driver's surname will let us know who you're talking about. Ready to go here before the race. Give us a shout. Do you think it's going to be Sedgley? Do you think it's going to be Nagal? Do you think it's going to be Clark? Do you think it's going to be...
Can we get a poll up?
Kiriakopoulos. We can. If I do the poll, then you can do the grid. Okay?
Yes. We have a deal.
We do. We do. Because, just going to put their surnames in as well, because I can't. Not ideal at trying to spell Kiriakopoulos, I've got to be honest. I do love Dennis, but boy, oh boy, has he got one of the tricky names.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, but here we go, Dan. Here is the grid up on the order for you. Off you go.
Well, Like we saw, Daniel Sedgley will be starting the race from pole position ahead of Rudolf Nagel in P2 once again, qualifying in the top 3. Paul Clark in 3rd, Dennis Kyrgiakopoulos 4th, Mike Buson 5th, David Walters 6th, Lucas Dolzer in P7, 8th is Paul LeMay, 9th, David Rolliston, 10th, Kettle Larson, Iwan Bremer in 11th, Michael LeMay in 12th, 13th, we have Sandro Capello, Stefan Mellis in P14, Damien G, P15, 16, Jacek Zielonka, 17, Gary Treby, and Daniele Cascado in 18th. Stephen Place rounds off the grid in 19th without a qualifying time.
Yeah, did Place put a lap in? He did. He's at the back. He's done his Stephen Place thing where he goes on to the back of the grid. But stay tuned, guys. I've got my notepad ready to write down it. Well, saying my notepad, I printed off some bits of paper that I've made into a lovely little spreadsheet that tells me anything that, just in case something happens. So this will be a replay of Fuji, just putting it out there, says Sven Young. Well, you can vote. It is there ready for you. Guys, I've got about 50 seconds left for Kyrgiakopoulos, Buson and Sedgley to get onto the starting grid. Sedgley taking pole position. Absolutely stellar job from Daniel Sedgley. I'm just hoping he nails the start. I really do. And he can get away here this evening. Hopefully we won't have any turn 1 dramas, but I am expecting a few. So let's hope. But here we go, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that was a short one. We are green here this evening. And Paul Clark's missed the start. Paul Clark has missed the start already. And oh no, he is on. Is he not? What is going on here? Paul Clark looks like he missed the start, but is he back on? I believe he is still running. There he is on the right-hand side. Daniel Sedgley's down in first. Kettle Larson and Jacek Zelenka have had a coming together towards the back end of the field, and unfortunately they've gone round, but it is at the moment Sedgley leading them out of turn 2 on this run down into Sloshgold, which is turn 3.
Well, they all got away cleanly, I wanted to say, but of course we saw that incident further on at the back. Of course, Daniel Sedgley, good start from him. Wasn't overtaken by Rudolf Nagel. Of course, Rudolf Nagel had that great start. Rudolf Nagel now up the inside though. Makes that move stick. Daniel Sedgley a little bit wide. Got a little bit of an oversteer moment there in the middle of the corner, and that he paid the price for that. Tires maybe not quite at the temperature there. Rudolf Nagel doing a better job in that and is now passed up to P1.
Lucas Dozer sitting behind Paul Clark currently. This is the battle for 5th place. Clark is currently occupying it. Dozer wants it. So we're going to have to see how this one pans out as the race goes on here for Lucas Dozer and Paul Clark. Don't forget, it is early days here this evening. Kettle Larson is down the back end of the field. Jacek Zelenka even further back. Let's have a look back and see what happens to these two. They do get away off the start. There is Larson in the middle. He gets sandwiched by Michael LeMay. Oh, contact on Jacek Zelenka. I believe that was Daniele Cascado. There was contact on Zelenka to put Cascado in to, unfortunately, Larson.
Yeah, well, there's a bump on the outside of turn 1 as well, which you definitely don't want to hit, because that is definitely going to throw your car out to the inside. Here we go, though. Sedgley has a run on Rudolf Nagel. Down on the inside he goes where Rudolf Nagel did it last lap. Rudolf Nagel a little bit more confident carrying that car around the outside. Beautiful move, though, by Daniel Sedgley to get past and up into first position again. And can now maybe try and work on building a lead over Rudolf Nagel. However, we know this track, Jameson. Knowing this track, a lot of slipstreaming here, so it's going to be difficult for Sedgley to try and create that gap. Where you can create that gap, really, is in the middle sector.
Yeah, definitely, and I think one of the things we're forgetting here is Kyrgiakopoulos behind them with Mike Buson as well, and you don't need to give Kyrgiakopoulos a sniff more. I'll tell you what, you give him an option to bite the cherry, he's going to bite your hand off, I'll tell you that much, because he will have that place if it is given to him. Sedgley has opened up about 7 tenths currently at the moment. Kyrgiakopoulos is pushing Rudolf Nagel. Here we go, on this run up now, Kyrgiakopoulos didn't really get a run out, but is having a good go as he goes up into turn 2 here. Dennis Kyrgiakopoulos chased by Mike Buson, chasing down Rudolf Nagel here at the Red Bull Ring, broadcast live on the JPB YouTube channel with myself and Dan Peoples here this evening. And at the moment, Sedgie's opening up about 8 tenths. If he can break that draft out of a second, Dan, I think he could be in with a good chance of winning this.
Well, Sedgie looks, lightning quick here on the Red Bull Ring. And I have to say, Rudolf Nagel isn't up to at least, well, the usual pace we were expecting from him. I think last time out at Catalonia, he won it with some 30-odd seconds. So, yeah, he was, well, bossing the field there at Catalonia. Not here this time, quite round. And Rudolf Nagel in second, chasing down Daniel Sedgley. Under pressure, though, from Dennis Kiriakopoulos. Well, 4 tenths about that gap. And I can see Kiriakopoulos, if he can stay where he is now, try and overtake Nagel if Sedgley can gap Nagel to second.
Yeah, I reckon if he can get the gap out to about a second, I think Kiriakopoulos is going to have him here. Sedgley to carry on like he did in the TCR. He did a stellar job in the TCRs on Friday. Didn't know how to start the Audi, took my advice, and then messaged me saying he owes me a beer. So that's quite nice. There we go. Daniele, nice to see you back. Yep, but he was back 2 weeks ago, I believe, as well. I think it's from his injury. So I believe he is back there as well. But David Walters looks like he's trying to have a go at Paul LeMay around the outside of turn 3 here. Paul Clark has been overtaken by Lucas Dozer, so that's Clark down in 6th now. LeMay still in 7th. Bramer 8th place back from them. Then we've got, just about to pick out Truby. And unfortunately, it looks like Truby's gone down the order. Now, was that completely on his own? Because there was another flash. It wasn't. It looks like Kettle Larson again. Larson not having much luck here, but let's see if it was. Okay. Maybe not. Let's try that one again, shall we? There is Sedgley. That is Cascado and Mellis. Stefan Mellis. Stefan Mellis on that one, Dan. It was unfortunately there. Spinning. Gary Truby. There we go. Stephen Place battling away in the middle of the field at 10th and 11th currently as well. Behind him is Lucas Dozer. Alongside him is Lucas Dozer. Here we go, and it is Dozer got the job done. Now currently over Stephen Place, and then Paul Clark, Paul LeMay battling away with David Walters waiting further back now. Dan, if you're talking, we cannot hear you. So Stephen Place still with Lucas Dozer. Check your mute button, Dan. Check your mute button.
I am not muted. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's back. Okay. Well, good. Well, I was saying what I think happened there was that the car on the outside was trying to do the switchback, not taking into account that, he was going to be overtaken by not taking the normal line through turn 3.
Yeah, definitely on that one.
Just talking about the Gary Truby incident.
Yes, I was. Yes. He come on the inside. Unfortunately, he hit Stefan Mellis. Or Mellis hit him. So there we go. But Paul Clark, Paul LeMay, David Walters here, mixing it up in the middle of the field. This is battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Sven Matheson, this is Nagel in every race. Just wait 15 laps, he says. Well, let's see how Rudolf Nagel gets on. He is about 7 to 8 tenths back currently at the moment. LeMay is leading the AMS, and he's got his counterpart David Rolliston 3 cars back from him there. So let's see how this one pans out here as we go on lap 6 with an hour 22 remaining.
Well, a good start on the race here, James, and I think talking about that, Paul LeMay is going to try and overtake Clark. Is not quite able to do it. He's going to try and do the switchback. Hopefully the same doesn't happen. No, it doesn't. And this time round, LeMay gets the switchback. You can see just the slingshot you get out of turn 3. He's now going to have to try it around the outside. He's going to make it work. A difficult corner to try it around the outside. And a dangerous corner as well. We've seen that numerous times in Formula 1 where you just get pushed out wide into the gravel. And at that point, it's all over.
It definitely is. Paul Clark's doing an absolute stellar job in 5th. Mind you, with Walters behind him. May, then Walters and Bramer Bramer in the red and white of the Platinum Racing team behind him there as well. And a big shout out to Miles Owens earlier on, who took, was it, 3rd place, I believe, earlier on today, Dan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes.
Who was he with? I didn't hear the other driver. I don't know who the other driver was.
Have you already forgotten that?
Was it Winston? No, not Winston. What was his name?
Winston Eckel and Miles Owen were together.
Yeah, that was it. Well, I didn't know the second guy when I tuned in, so there we go. But David Waters trying to chase down Paul LeMay, who's trying to chase down Mike Buson. Kiriakopoulos is trying to chase down Nagel. Nagel's trying to chase down Sedgley. But it is this little pocket of a battle here where there's 4 cars going at each other, and they are doing so. Paul Clark seems to have opened up a little bit of a gap. He's gapped Paul LeMay by about 7 tenths at the moment, and David Waters is looking down the inside of LeMay at the moment. He's got to run it in deep. Can LeMay give him room? There's going to be contact. And again,
That's what I told you there.
Yeah, Waters LeMay, that was all day that was going to happen. We saw that coming a mile away.
Well, the thing is, with outside moves, James, you are just putting yourself on the penalty spot ready for an open goal to be scored. And, well, that was exactly what happened there to Paul LeMay. Unfortunate there to see that. And, well, honestly, there's nothing you can do about that being the car on the outside, because the car on the inside runs wide, and it's either run off into the gravel trap or, well, make contact with the car on the inside.
Definitely did. Once the car starts running wide, there's not a lot they can do, Dan, to be honest. They can't stop it to a degree. You know, they've got to kind of hope that the other guy's either giving them room or is just not there. But it's a tough one all round. But Kiriakopoulos is doing a stellar job over Rudolf Nagel here. Following each other round turn. They're currently going around turn 2 on this run down into 3. Sedgley instantly goes to the right-hand side. Tries to go defensive. He really needs Kiriakopoulos to put Nagel under a pressure so we can at least try and keep the gap back. But David Rolliston and Paul LeMay battle for your David Rolliston, Lucas Dozer, sorry, Paul LeMay further back there as well. So let's see what Rollo can do. Is he going to be able to get past Lucas Dozer? Is not, and he has got the battle in Paul LeMay. Stefan Mellis here with Michael LeMay and Sandra Capella. They're coming around turn 3. See him there on the in. There he is, Mellis in the middle.
4, I think.
Yeah, turn 4. But it's here. I want to see what Kiriakopoulos is going to do. I don't know what he's going to be capable of being able to do, to be fair.
I think as long as Nagel stays in the slipstream from Sedgley, Kiriakopoulos isn't going to be able to do anything because he doesn't have any advantage. So he's going to have to wait for a mistake from Nagel. Because the advantage that he would have had if Nagel didn't have any slipstream was, of course, the slipstream. He would gain on the straights, trying to outbrake him at the end of one of the 3 straights we have here. But, of course, that advantage for him is now gone since, of course, Nagel has the slipstream from Daniel Sedgley. Daniel Sedgley, even though giving away the slipstream to Nagel, still doing a tremendous job here, keeping them both behind. Of course, a little bit further back, here's his teammate Mike Buson. So he will be trying to gain as well. They are all 4 creating a little bit of a gap to Paul Clark in 5th. So doing a great job.
Yeah, he is down there as well. But they're also gapping Buson a little bit. So Buson's going to have to try and stay a little bit closer if he can. Paul Clark and Ivan Bramer are going to come together very, very shortly. But Daniele Cascado's not had a good time here. Off on that run down to turn 3, I think. Yeah.
Oh, spinning, yeah.
All on his own.
Looked like he just went in a little bit too hot, and then he couldn't slow the car down, and he spins another time for good measure.
Backline pictures with Ivan Bramer battling away with Paul Clark. The front 3 are still about 4 tenths apart. There they are. Buson has managed to catch back up. Michael LeMay, Stefan Mellis, Damien G. Of course, this is the battle for the team's championship. G is really expecting to get a little bit further up in the AMS because obviously Paul LeMay is a little bit further up the field, and it is a battle between Paul LeMay, Gary Truby, Michael LeMay, and Damien G. So it's two brothers racing in Rad Sport Sim Racing. Sorry, get the words mixed up. But Ivan Bremer's having a go here. So is Dennis Kiriakopoulos. He is under attack from Mike Bousson on this run down into turn 3. Is this going to be Bousson's opportunity? It's not this time around. Bremer did get Clark, and is Clark going to be looking at coming back? It seems like Paul Clark's lost a little bit of his pace that he had in qualifying, didn't he? He seems to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, well, Ivan Bremer, though, doing a really good job. Up 6 positions, talking about qualifying, from where he started. So, yeah, doing a tremendous job. Of course, started in P11, now up to P5. The biggest gainer in the field is Stephen Place. Down in 10th position, started all the way in last position, is now up into P10.
No surprise for Stephen Place, I've got to be honest. If that guy would come out and do a quali lap, he would be absolutely stellar. But it's just not. I don't know. Every time I've watched him, Stephen Place has either gone out and done a really slow lap and ended up at the back, or he's moved his way up through the field. So we have to see how this goes. But it is Nagao, Sedgley, Nagao, Kiriakopoulos, Bousson are your top 4. Ooh, we've still got an hour and 15 minutes remaining. I'll leave the poll up for about another 5 minutes. So if you haven't voted on who you think your winner will be, please get your poll votes in, because I will be stopping the poll in about 5 minutes time there this evening. So going to be interesting to see how it works out here. With
Am I allowed to vote as well?
Vote if you want to.
Okay. I'm not going to say who I'm voting for.
Okay.
Because they're going to call the commentator curse if the person crashes. So that's why.
All right. Well, it ain't going to be Ivan Bremer, so you can't vote for your teammate because he's not on the poll. Clark was, and unfortunately for Clark, he seems to be dropping down the order in 6th place there. So unfortunately for him, I'm not entirely sure that he's going to have an opportunity, but I am expecting Kiriakopoulos to have a go. He's now gapping a little bit of Bousson once more and is catching back up to Nagao. It could do with Sedgley really opening up his wheels on Rudolf Nagao here and just leaving a Kiriakopoulos Nagao battle. So I think that would be interesting to see. You know, old Dennis Kiriakopoulos drives in socks and is still on a G920. So well done to him. He's doing an absolute. Oh, he's going to get back on your line. Get back on your line. Yeah. One of the problems with turn 3, you come off that line, that natural line, you end up losing time, and then Kiriakopoulos has got to pick his battles carefully here with Rudolf Nagao.
Well, Nagao doesn't quite seem to have the pace to gain on Daniel Sedgley. I don't know if Kiriakopoulos does. This is a battle, though. Damien G fighting over 15th place with Kettle Larson. He is making his way up the order again. Of course, after that first lap incident, well, doing a good job at it. 15th at the moment. Came from a long way back, though. So, yeah, not really in the fight for the win, I think, anymore. But, hey, every position in the championship, James, is a position extra.
Yeah, I'm wondering if G's got a problem, you know. He's just lost 12 places. Not 12 places, 4 places in one go. And I'm just wondering if there was an issue, or is an issue with Damien G's car, because very unlikely.
Slow down. If I see how close the cars ahead of him are, then that could have been the case.
Well, let's have a look. Oh, it's got to be turn 1. Yep.
Yeah, that's a slow down.
Slow down.
That's an off track and a slow down. And the annoying thing is there, you know, like I said last week as well, he slowed down, but he still gets that slowdown, even though he didn't even gain time with doing so. But yeah, unfortunate for Damien G. He's now going to try and make his way back up the order, and he has time. Of course, he's under attack by the guys up ahead. Down the inside though goes Kettle Larson, makes up another position. Almost, I thought for a second he was going to go in too deep. But he wasn't, and Stefan Capella or Sandro Capella has to, well, concede that position and has dropped back down to P15. But Damien G has time, has a gap of 12.2 behind, so has some time to try and pick his battles. Doesn't have to be careful and doesn't have to watch in his mirrors. But yeah, he's going to have to, well, once again, make up quite a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a tough one for G. I think from that point of view now, it's going to be trying to do as much damage limitation, because he's got him and Truby behind the two LeMays, behind Paul and Michael, and that's massive in the team championship in the AMS. You know, we've got Team Radline here, and we've got Rudolf Nagao and Lucas Dozer, obviously Mike Bousson. So we kind of need to assess the situation about what's going to happen with them as well, because obviously Daniel Sedgley is in a different team. So it's going to be tough. Sedgley is in team, I think it's in Team Radline Black, and Bousson's in Team Radline Red, I believe, as I look quickly through my...
I think...
Or they are both in Team Radline. I think they're both in Team Radline, aren't they?
Well, on paper, let's be honest here, they're both the same. They come from the same, team. They're just a different team in a team, if you know what I mean.
Yep, I certainly do. But at the moment, Sedgley's doing a stellar job, pulled out 1.2. Kyriakopoulos now has got the option to try and attack Nagao. He's now got the draft. Nagao hasn't got any, and Sedgley is opening up. No, James, only one Team Radline in endurance, says John McCutcheon. Sorry, John. Don't shoot me, my bad. Hey, don't mess with a William Wallace Scotsman, mate, I'll tell you.
Is it dangerous?
It's dangerous, mate. Have you not seen the film?
No.
You've not seen
I've barely
Braveheart?
seen any films.
No. Go and watch Braveheart. If you do one thing tonight when you finish this, right, you don't sleep very often anyway, go and watch Braveheart. Okay? That is your job when you leave here. I know what you're doing.
Well, I have to finish the Grand Tour first.
Well, don't worry about the Grand Tour. That will still be thereafter. Go and watch Braveheart. It's a quality film. And look out for the line. They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Oh, incredible film. That is there as well. Ivan Bramer is being chased down by Lucas Dozer here rather rapidly. Can Dozer clear? The Flying Dutchman is Ivan Bramer. Going to be an interesting one to see how that one works out there as well. Kettle Larsen on to the back end of Stefan Mellis. I'm expecting more of a when, not an if situation for Larsen. And give him room, because he's going to come. There we go. That is Larsen through. Yeah, but it was expected. I think Larsen was just going to send it on him.
Well, the thing is, if he would have tried and run that around the outside, if Mellis tried to run that around the outside, then I think there would have been contact, because coming to the exit of the corner, there was no room left for another Radical SR10 on the left-hand side.
Definitely on that one, but it looks like Dozer is putting Bramer under all sorts of pressure. 1:08, 1 hour, 8 minutes remaining. Rudolf Nagao is under attack from Dennis Kyriakopoulos as well. I have jumped to the front two just for a minute. I'll keep an eye on that gap back as well. Dozer's on the right-hand side. Here we go. Dozer on the right, Bramer on the left, and it is going to be Dozer through. Oh, he's had to tighten it up. Here we go. Going to be the run down into turn 3. And it looks like Lucas Dozer's got it done, isn't he? Yeah, he's got it from there by a little bit of a country mile, to be honest. So, unfortunately, Lucas Dozer is up into 5th. Ivan Bramer, unfortunately, down into 6th place. Well, there you go. There you go, Dan, says John McCutcheon.
Well, you know, a little fact.
What's that?
The curbstones here at this circuit were painted red and white because that's the Austrian flag.
Aren't they red and white in every track, or am I mistaken?
You are mistaken, because they're not red and white on every track. If you go to, say, Catalonia last week, or 2 weeks ago, last round, I have to say, there was a black and yellow curb on the left-hand side, I think going into turn 4. So no, they're not red and white everywhere.
Any views on incidents? Well, they've got 15 incident points before they've got to have a drive-through. Now, I'm not going to take my timing software as golden on that one, Sven Young.
You shouldn't.
And the reason I'm not going to do that is because currently, according to my software, Rudolf Nagal's got 20 incident points. So there we go. Green and gold in Interlagos, says John McCutcheon. So, my mistake. I thought maybe I don't pay much attention to the curves, to be honest. But maybe I should more. So maybe they paint them to match the colour of the flag for the country.
Yeah, that is. Well, that's what they here in the Netherlands. They had orange and white curbstones, and then or at Zandvoort that was in Formula One.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every curbstone section, they had a red, white, and blue flag. Which I think every track should do. It looked absolutely amazing. So if you, like here, would just put a red, white, red curbstone at the end, in the opposite direction, of course, not running like the usual curbstones are, in the shape of the flag of Austria, then I think that would be a great addition.
Oh, okay. I'm just
Now I have to be honest.
Just doing some investigating. Apparently, and they are red and curbs are now black and white. No, they're not black and white in Silverstone. Are they actually black
I
and
don't
white?
think they are.
It could well be, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, the thing is, I have to be honest, in Silverstone that would be difficult. You try and make the British flag on a curbstone, you have to be an artist for that. To be honest, Dave, so I don't think like a normal person like us would be able to do that. Just paint some lines, I think we could do that, but the British flag would make it a little bit more difficult.
Why?
Because you have to paint diagonal lines and things like that. Trying to form that onto a curbstone, like you see on the end here, where the curbstone kind of comes inward, the end, the white bit. It's going to be difficult to make a British flag on there.
Maybe. Might not make Alton this week. Bathurst on the Saturday. So sprint race, 12-hour Bathurst, 2-man, and the Super Bowl after. I do want to watch the Super Bowl next Sunday. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I might have to have on the background why I think I've got broadcast next Sunday. I'll look back on that one. The Austrian flag is painted on the outside of turn 8. As John McCutcheon said, another interesting fact. So let's jump on board with Rudolf Nagal here. And here is turn 6. Is that here? I presume that's here. So turn 7.
Turn 8 is
3, 4,
the end
5,
of this.
6, 7. So here.
No.
Yes.
What we're coming up to now.
This is 9.
Well, then he maybe mistook the corners, but there it is on the outside.
Yeah, this is turn 9. And there's turn 10. So that's the final one. So there we go.
And it's also painted there. So, yeah.
Well done.
A nice addition to the track. A little bit like at Coda, where they have the runoffs also painted in I think, not particularly the American flag, but I think the American stripes.
So what about Paul Ricard then, where there's just colours everywhere?
Oh yeah, well, that was just made for a testing purpose. So I think Paul Ricard was the first track where they actually had the different asphalt surfaces to slow the car down.
Yeah, I'm not really a lover of that track. I've got to be honest, because it's almost like, you know, there's so much going on. There's colours everywhere. It just drives me insane.
Well, the controversial thing is, if it rains, it doesn't slow you down nearly as much as normal asphalt would do, because there are painted lines. So it doesn't actually slow you down.
But are they not on the rough?
In the rain.
Are they not that rough tarmac?
Oh, Ian Bremmer's round.
Bramer has gone round.
Was there contact with Clark though? That is what I'm interested in.
Clark was miles back. But let's have a look now and see what happened here, Dan.
No, I mean on the aftermath of that incident when Bremer had it spun round. Here we go. He's going to spin it on power. There we go. Oh, just touching the gravel. And then here is the contact. Oh, there is a little bit of contact. I saw that correct. There is contact between Paul Clark and Iwan Bremer. Iwan Bremer trying to spin his car in the right direction, and Paul Clark just catching the end of it. Ah, that's unfortunate for Clark. Already didn't quite have the pace he had in qualifying to maintain that third position he was in. And now also presumably has a little bit of damage from the contact with Iwan Bremer, knowing these cars.
Definitely we will have a look round at Paul Clark's car very shortly, but Nagel has got the gap back down to about half a second over Daniel Sedgley. Keep an eye on that one. Paul LeMay and Paul Clark. Let's have a look and see. It would be on the right rear.
Yeah, I think right rear is the right place. There we go. No, that car seems fine.
Yeah. Nothing on the front right either, so it looks like Paul Clark may have got away with that, a minimum. So there you go.
Yeah, well, knowing how iRacing works, sometimes we don't get to see the damage, but it is actually there maybe for Paul Clark himself. Let's hope, James, let's just hope indeed for the best, and let's hope that Paul Clark that contact is not going to have any effect on his race pace.
Yeah, definitely on that one as well, because he was doing so well, was Paul Clark. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Daniel Sedgley blinking away up the straight there. But,
is this Daniel Sedgley trying to break the slipstream tactic?
Well, it's a very bizarre way of doing it.
Oh, that was deep from Nagel. This fight is on.
Yeah,
that was a... I thought for a second, sorry James, they were going to come to contact there.
Yeah, but have you seen Kiriakopoulos is coming back in the background now, because that slowed Nagel down. So it'll be interesting to see now if Kiriakopoulos can come back at him.
Well, with that mistake, I think, from Nagel, Kiriakopoulos was allowed back into slipstream. Took full advantage of that, now is 7/10 behind Rudolf Nagel. And I think, James, that Kiriakopoulos, if he could just hang on, we know that he's usually good on strategy, that maybe he can try and do something into the pit lane, or maybe just with his pit strategy.
Maybe. John's put, though, regarding Paul Ricard, he put, that's in France. They're just all confused anyway.
Yeah. Well, I get confused when I hear French people talk their French language because I don't understand anything of it. So I wouldn't know if they are confused.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest, because at the end of the day, there's lots that goes on with the French language. My son's tried to explain it to me because he can speak French, he's fluent in French, you know, past tense, present tense, future tense, and lots of other tense. I just feel tense listening to him talk, to be honest. But you know, I don't get it. But then again, I don't understand Dutch or anything else either. You know, I just good old Englishman who doesn't understand a lot of other languages. But it's going to be interesting over this year, with if all of my calendar aligns correctly, the amount of places I might have to at least try and pick up some basics, because otherwise I'm not going to have a clue if I go off somewhere and I'm trying to order something and I won't be able to say a single bit. So
you'll have me.
Yeah, well, yeah. What's wrong with Stephen Place's paint? I can't answer that, mate. But I am just looking at Sandro Capella going past Damien G. It did that the other day to Mike Bousson as well. So I can't really answer that situation. I can try and refresh the paints, but it will change every car to white. So be aware, if that does happen, then I've done it because John's told me to. Because he's Scottish and he has a big old sword, and he'll try and force feed me haggis. and I don't like haggis. So
Usually, James, if you just try and re-download them again on Trading Paints, they don't go white. They just update.
well, that's the plan. So but I'm gonna do it just John told me to, and if it works out, it works out. But Paul LeMay still battling away with Paul Clark. Paul Clark holding on to that 6th place, Dan. I don't know how well. I was going to say I don't know for how long here, but
Commentators, yes, we got one.
that long basically. So unfortunately for Paul Clark, he's gone down the order into 7th. He hasn't really got his collie pace, which is a little bit bizarre. But I don't know if that's because he's running on a lot heavier fuel load. You know what I mean? I'd love to. I do try and get Paul into the booth every single week, but he generally tells me that he hasn't got a mic, or he hasn't got this, or there's some excuse anyway. But he works at a shop with sells hi-fi parts. I'm pretty sure they've got microphones in there. I think he just don't want to come and talk to me. So there we go. Paul Clark for you. And I'm going up to see him.
Maybe he's scared.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going up to see him next week, and he hasn't got an option but to talk to me because, there's going to be interviews and stuff going on as well. So Paul Clark just hasn't got a chase. I haven't got a choice. My kids are loving and looking forward to it next week because they're like, Paul, when we saw Paul at the Autosport International in Birmingham, literally, he was like, yeah, come up. Bring the kids up with you. They can just sit in the rigs all day. Well, that was it for my kids. They were made up. The 2 boys, George and Henry, were literally made up. They were like, yes, just get to play games in a rig all day.
Well, that's what we all want, isn't it? Let's be honest, James. If we could be in a rig for free when we don't have one at home because Dad's always in it, hey James, then
You see me drive on a Monday. I'm always in my rig.
Well, if you're not, then you're always on a computer.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not updating, John. I have tried. It's not kicking in, I'm afraid. So we have to try to see if it picks up later on. But Sedgley is now being closed down by Nagel. They are starting to gap Kyrgiakopoulos a little bit out at 5/10. As it's flicked white there. David Rolliston is now battling away with Paul Clark. The thing with Clark, right, he's a very tough cookie when it comes to overtaking. He's gone down the order a little bit, but I suppose from his point of view, his defences are normally very strong. So I would be interested to see what Rollo could do and whether or not he's going to be able to clear him. May has done. It's not important for Rolliston, I suppose, to clear Clark as much because he can get the May in the pit stops if he covers each other off. So that's obviously an option for him. But has Stephen placed his livery loaded in properly? No, he's still in a black car. Sorry, John, can't do nothing else. So there we go.
Well, the gap at the front has closed down. Nagel now only 4/10 back from Daniel Sedgley. And Daniel Sedgley is under pressure. This is still a gap that is easily to bridge in maybe just overshooting your pit box a little bit. So there's going to be pressure on Daniel Sedgley throughout this whole race. And I think, of course, looking back at last week, the battle for the lead is lasting longer than it did last week because, well, like I said, 30-odd seconds Daniel Sedgley had over the whole field at least. So, yeah.
Daniel Sedgley or Rudolf Nagel?
Rudolf Nagel, excuse me.
Okay, just checking. Well, you've got to make sure you get it right, haven't you? 52 minutes remaining. The pole has finished. Daniel Sedgley was out on top with 75% of the votes. Rudolf Nagel only on 25. Clark didn't get any, neither did Kyrgiakopoulos. So see how they go. See if that actually works out as it does. Now, obviously, the interesting thing is with these two is they're probably not going to change tyres. That seems to be a given currently at the moment. I would be very surprised if either of them did. Rudolf Nagel looked like he got a lot better run out of turn 3, mind you, before running up turn 2, before running down to 3. So
he's not going to get there. He's just a little bit too far back.
Yeah. He just can't seem to hold it around that corner. It's almost like Sedgley's quick around that corner. And then Nagel it's almost chips away at it. You know what I mean? He just chips away and chips away and chips away. Gets a little bit closer. Then Nagel opens it back up. Then Sedgley opens it back up again on turn 2 and 3. And then Nagel's back at it again. Look, he's done it again here. Chipped it back away again. He got it down to 33 hundredths, and then it's back out again, over 3.8 tenths. So it's difficult for him, I think.
Yeah, well, never easy, of course, because even though you have that slipstream, you're also in these cars in the middle sector. You're going to get just a little bit of aero wash. Even in GT3s, you get that. That's a little bit too deep. It's going to pay for that on the exit. However, though, still gets a good exit compared to Daniel Sedgley. I think Daniel Sedgley just a little bit, maybe looking a little bit too much in his mirrors to see what Nagel is doing. Doesn't have to worry at the moment. I don't think Nagel is going to go for a ridiculous move up the inside. However, though, saying that, Nagel is closing up to Sedgley. But once again, I think coming onto the straight here between 3 and 4, once again, not going to be close enough.
Blimey, I've just saw Nagel come flashing in there, and I thought that was going to be termination of Daniel Sedgley, but he managed to hold on to it from these guys here, still battling away at the front of the order. That is Daniel Sedgley in front of us. We are on the nose of Rudolf Nagel. They can take a lot of that curb. I think this is one of the things with this track that drives me crazy. 1 minute you can take a lot of the curb, and next minute you sniff at the curb and you got an off track and a slowdown. It's so, it's just not
It's inconsistent.
Right. Yeah,
it's inconsistent.
It's well inconsistent. I had this discussion the other day, and I think they should just stick, like a white line around the whole track, right?
Yes.
And they should just pull it out about a metre from the white line. So if all 4 wheels go over this line here, a metre past that line, it's an off track. 2 wheels, 2 on the track, you survive. Just do it almost just, I don't know why I'm holding up my hands because nobody can see me, but get the track that and then just basically expand it a metre around the whole thing. And then that way, everything's covered. But having the inconsistency where you can get 4 wheels off the corner at one, and then you sniff at the curb down here on the inside. You take too much of this inside curb here by literally a nose hair, and you get off track. It's not consistent. I love this sim, don't get me wrong, and this is obviously where I do most of my broadcasting, but it's consistently inconsistent. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the thing with that is that it usually in racing, it's either the wall that's the limit, or 4 tires over the white line, which is in fairness, it is the end of the track. At some places, maybe like at that's not an off track.
Exactly. But if you did that in turn 1, it's an off track. You did it in turn 3, it's an off track. You do it in any other corner apart from that one, it's an off track. That's what I said. It's inconsistent. It's consistently inconsistent. Do you know what I mean? There's no set thing to it. But I don't know. I as I say, I love the sim. It's where obviously I do all my broadcasting most of the time. As a driver, I can understand the driver's frustrations. Miles Owens, come on you Spurs, he's put in chat. Come on, son. I did see they won 1-0. I'm going to watch it back on Match of the Day. Unfortunately, I didn't watch it live. I just read the text update on the BBC app. Sorry. While I was trying to work.
Not a real Spurs fan confirmed.
Huh?
Not a real Spurs fan confirmed.
Well, no,
real fans watch their team.
Yeah, but I don't have Sky, so it doesn't really bother me. But Paul Clark is just about to lose 2 places here. Ivan Bramer's on the far right. Then we've got Rollo in the middle. And then we've got Paul Clark on the left. They're going to be taking this 3 wide. Here we go. Are they all going to survive this? This is never, is it? Rollo's running around the outside with Bramer. Clark backed off. Rollo and Bramer are now 2 wide, going off around turn 4, coming into turn 5. Bramer's still pushing that inside line. He's got slip.
No contact. The inevitable contact happened.
And it started with Rollo's rear right slipping. And then, unfortunately for them, on lap 30, they went round in turn 5. That's a tough one, you know.
Unfortunate for both.
Yeah, let's have a look now. And you can just see on the back end of Rollo's car here, watch his little angle go to the right. There's the slip there, and he just hits Ivan Bramer. Nothing he can do as we go back to live pictures. Bramer's in the pits, he's in there as well. David Rollison still carrying on for a minute and on his way, but he is under attack from Kettle Larson. Dennis Kiriakopoulos has cleared Rudolf Nagel. Dennis Kiriakopoulos got Rudolf Nagel. Was that a slowdown? Because that seemed a very long way back from there.
No, just got a better run out of 4, it seems like.
Good. Now what's Nagel going to do? Because he's now got to chase Kiriakopoulos while Rollo has got to try and defend from the IGL. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's just let him through. So there we go. Rudolf Nagel now battling away with Kiriakopoulos. Bramer's in the pits. Solanka's in the pits as well. So these guys are nestling into the pits. Getting their one and only pit stop out of the way. Bramer's on his way out. So we are coming into that window. I don't know how, I was going to say I don't know how long the gal's going to stay there, but clearly he's going to try. I thought he was going to try it into turn 2 there, but he didn't make it that time around. But I think from Bramer and Rollison's point of view, that's just a little bit unlucky for them guys. They were having a tremendous battle, so
Yeah.
bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, well, the difference in this battle we're seeing right here between Nagel and Kiriakopoulos is the fact that Kiriakopoulos doesn't have any slipstream towards Daniel Sedgley now. And when Nagel was in front, Nagel did have that slipstream. This is maybe the opportunity now for Sedgley to try and get away. Maybe that Kiriakopoulos is a little bit slower than Nagel is. And if they start fighting these two, then it could well be that Sedgley also through the corners where they are fighting. But Daniel Sedgley's going to get time there and he's going to try and get away from these two. Once this gap opens up to 2 seconds, I think it's going to be Daniel Sedgley's race to lose.
Yeah, I think it is, to be honest. I think if Kiriakopoulos can try and gap Nagel or break out that half a second toe, then from Nagel's point of view, it's not looking good, is he? Are we looking at 44 minutes remaining with a Sedgley win? That's going to be the thing, but we've still got
what do you call not good?
What do you mean?
Well, you said that wouldn't be good for Rudolf Nagel.
No, well, if he gets gapped
What
by
do we call not good?
If he gets gapped by Kiriakopoulos as well, he's only got the pit stops to try and really make a difference, hasn't he? You know, Kiriakopoulos, he's already lost 1.5 out to Sedgley already. If Nagel loses the draft on Kiriakopoulos, then obviously, from his point of view, he's going to be there in no man's land trying to catch down. He's got to try and make a difference. He's either got to try and stay with Dennis or try and pull something out of the pits to try and jump him.
Well, you could also argue that he doesn't need to take any risks because for him, this is good enough. This is good enough. He doesn't need to do more. For the next 2 races, if he finishes 3rd, he is champion. So he doesn't need to do much, really. He just needs to finish races in acceptable positions because the lead he has in the championship is so big that, well, like I said, he doesn't need to do much. And if he can finish well here, like a P3, he could well just set him up for a championship winning evening in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely on that one. Toxic, do these have to pit? Or, yeah, they won't make the distance. Toxic, they haven't got enough fuel on them. They do need to pit. They will need to pit for fuel. It's not mandatory that they pit for tyres. And as we are finding, most people don't actually take tyres in general. But they will need to fuel up on that one because they won't make it to the end. So, yeah, they've got to fuel, but they don't have to take tyres. All right. Yes, you did say they were going to win today, Miles. Well done to you. But Nagel is trying to have a go at Kiriakopoulos now. Side by side on this run down into turn 3. If Kiriakopoulos is going to do anything, he's either got to try and stay as close as he can to Nagel, or now, Dennis. Now. He's got in a little bit deep. Is Nagel going to get the run out through 4? Nagel with the purple wheels and the yellow. Dennis Kiriakopoulos in the orange and blue, and Dennis has still managed to hold on there as well.
Well, he carried it around the outside. was able to break a little bit later than Rudolf Nagel did. But yeah, great defense there from Dennis Kiriakopoulos. Knew how high this car was, knew where he could brake, was on the absolute ragged edge of that car, and well, it resulted in him keeping P2. But what it also resulted in is a gap of 1.9 seconds now to Daniel Sedgley. That's not going to be a gap that they're going to make up easily.
Oh, I just had a notification that Stephen Place and Stefan Mellis had a coming together, as did Jacek Zelenka, but maybe they didn't. I'm not going to take that as golden, so we're not going to worry about that. But this is the closest battle on track. You can see the other intervals currently there as well. They are a long way back from the leader currently as well. 1 minute 15 for LeMay, for Paul LeMay, sorry. So, and then 1 lap back from Michael LeMay. So he's getting close. Mendoza's trying to make the move on the inside again. Oh, down into turn 3.
He's got it this time.
Yeah, sorry, not Nagel, not Dozer. It was Nagel. Has made the move past Kiriakopoulos. He's got it this time, but I don't expect Dennis to give it up too easily, to be fair.
No, he wouldn't. And well, 2 seconds is the gap now to the guys up ahead, or to the guy up ahead, Daniel Sedgley. I think, to be honest, that gap is going to take a while with the pace that Daniel Sedgley is running at the moment for Rudolf Nagel to catch up. Maybe Rudolf Nagel was saving fuel behind Daniel Sedgley. I don't expect that to be the case, but it could be the case. You never know. And that's maybe why he's stuck behind. So we'll see now what Rudolf Nagel's 3 pace is. If he can catch up to Daniel Sedgley, we know that he's got some pace in his locker.
Well, there's only 1/10 between them. Sedgley on a 1:25.61 last time out, Nagel on a 1:25.51. Kiriakopoulos on a 1:26.14, but obviously he did get overtaken then as well. So we'll have to see how it goes there. Toxic, thanks for clearing that up. Still got a D licence. Don't worry about it, mate. I'm only on a B. Don't panic too much. Licenses aren't everything. Licenses aren't everything.
Well, the annoying thing in iRacing is that without a license you can't race certain series.
Yeah, but the higher you get, the more it costs you.
Also true, yeah. Now I have to give iRacing credits because they have been doing more for C-class races. And to be honest, C and B class races is really where you want to be. Because C class, of course, is the long distance endurance GT3 races with the VRS. You have the BMW Sim Cup as well now, of course, where one of our chatters, Miles, has taken part in today as well. Which is, well, great fun. It's LMDHs and it's BMWs, GT3s. So, great fun to race in. That's also long distance. That's D class. But, B class is, I think, really, you can do everything apart from the Formula 1 stuff.
What, B?
Yes.
You can't do ESS either. You can't do the European Sprint Series.
Yeah, well, but that's the same as doing a GT3 endurance or an IMSA endurance,
yeah,
which is also B class.
But from that point of view, they can't actually do a ESS endurance race on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is, of course, is the fact that, of course, the ESS races are 15 minutes longer than IMSA races.
45, yeah. It's an hour, yeah.
Apart from that, there is no difference. So I don't know why they're still running 2 different classes. Maybe it's for that extra 15 minutes. But yeah, I was a big fan of the ESS, the European Sprint Series, when the LMP1s were still in there. I was actually, I am mad that the LMP1s are out of iRacing now because I was actually quick, generally quick. And I do dare to call myself one of the quickest drivers in that car on iRacing. That's how quick I was in that car. So that's why I'm so sad that car is gone. But hey, of course, it's good that we're getting the new and the updated version of course, the WEC and the IMSA with, of course, the hypercars, the GTPs in there as well. So it's for the better, I would say.
Yeah, I think it would be as well. I was looking at NASCAR Infinity this week to see if I could do that, but I've got to buy the Atlantic Motor Speedway, and I just can't keep adding all of these oval tracks to my repertoire of tracks that I'm probably never going to race on again. So, you know, be a little bit sensible. There we go. And obviously the NASCAR.
You're not a millionaire yet?
No, you're right. I'm not. I'm definitely not a millionaire. Otherwise, I'd be sat in a studio by now if I was, putting this all on in a live production. So there we go. But we're not. So not yet. But I'll just keep eyeing them up and seeing if I want to join in. No. I don't know. But the ESS is at Catalonia this week, so that should be an interesting one.
Yeah, well, still this gap is about 7/10 from Kyrgiopoulos to Nagal. Nagal seems to found this pace over Kyrgiopoulos, or Kyrgiopoulos has dropped his pace. Apart from that, pit lane at a Stephen Place in 13th position. But it seems like Nagal has found the pace he wants. He just cannot close up to Sedgley because he's just losing half a tenth to a tenth every lap, it seems like.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for him now. I think the toughest part of this is going to be able to keep the car behind him of Dennis Kyrgiopoulos. I think that's got to be what his main aim is. The purpose of it is going to be trying to keep Dennis behind him. Especially when it comes down to the pit stops. How's that going to work out as well? And it's going to be definitely interesting to see how this goes here over the next 34 minutes. So stay tuned, guys, because it is going to be probably quite a manic 34 minutes here, and one that you've got to sit back and enjoy. So Toxic, yeah, I've been doing the Fanatec Challenge in the Cadillac on Monza and the Ferrari Cup for the 488 GT3. Silver's still with his D license. Thanks.
Yeah. Is that... oh, we have a pitter, James. Dennis Kyrgiopoulos into the pit lane, and ahead of him as well is, I think... Jacek Zelenka as well into the pit lane. And, well, those are the first pitters. We were expecting people to pit now, so I'm expecting other people to come into the pit soon as well.
Yeah, I don't think Kyrgiopoulos, keep an eye on his car, just see if his front end lifts up. I don't think he's going to take tyres. I think it'd be honestly crazy if he does. Don't think he's going to. It is just primarily was looking like fuel to get through the next 33 minutes. But if he isn't careful, he's going to lose this position over Paul Clark here. Clark is going to go through, but of course Clark has got to pit. So from that point of view, Kyrgiopoulos is down in 8th. He's lost the place to Larson, Walters, Clark, Dozer and Buson, but none of them are pitted above him yet. So he was the first one, and he hasn't really come out in traffic, to be honest. He's got Zelenka in front of him, who he can use for the draft as well, so that will help him out a little bit. But he does want to clear Zelenka as soon as physically possible, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, maybe here in this straight already. Get into that toe. Of course, Zelenka has leapt ahead of him, so he will get the blue flag. And he's going to go out of the way. There we go. A nice toe for Kyrgiopoulos. He's not going to go out of the way. I thought for a second there, looking at it, that he was going to get out of the way. Moving over to the right-hand side, but he's not. Now he is, though.
Yeah, he did
going on to the left-hand side. It was a little bit deep.
I think that was a forced error, to be honest with you, Dan. I think that was somewhat of a forced error. From him, but Kyrgiopoulos is through and he's not taking long. Larson's up the road with Walters as well.
Still has to pit.
Yeah, they've all got a pit above him. None of them's pitted above him. So essentially the Nagal, Buson, Dozer, Clark, Walters, Larson, they've all got a pit, and Kyrgiopoulos is the one that has done and dusted and is out in clean air, which is great for him there as well. I will say on that one though, Toxic, be aware that the moment you get out of D and into C, and then into B, for instance, the entitlement kicks in, and people seem to think they all of a sudden turn into Max Verstappen after that. So, you know, be aware.
What's wrong with Max Verstappen?
I never said anything's wrong with them. I'm just saying that somehow the concept of driving when you get higher up in a license class seems to go out the window. You know, I've spectated some ESSA license races, and boy, oh boy, you know, you sit back and think, wow, you know what I mean? How are you at 5K I rating when you're driving like that? You know what I mean? It's questionable, should we say? So just if you're enjoying it down there in D class, I would, you know, look at possibly staying, because it don't get any easier, does it, once you get past that stage?
No, well, also a plus for that is that you have certain championships or series to focus on, instead of being able to race them all and not knowing what you can race. So he said that he was in the Fanatec Challenge in the Cadillac. I think that is with the Kia in it as well. Yeah. So if he can focus on that one, can do a lot of races in that car. And usually when you do more races, you get more consistent, you get faster on the track. You also gain I rating easier if you are doing a series more than any others. And of course, throughout the series and throughout the weeks, you will learn the car you're driving in. So it will all be beneficial, actually, to maybe stay where he is now. But of course, I can get into the fact that it sometimes does get a little bit boring to only race the same series.
Definitely does. David Rollison's coming into the pits. Kettle Larson is in as well. So let's see, they should be coming out as they are. So that's another 2 places for Kyrgiakopoulos at the moment. He's got to put the laps in faster than the leaders. The leaders are lapping at 125. He's gone round last time in a 126.11. So he does need to put a little bit of pace on for Kyrgiakopoulos there. Otherwise, he's going to struggle. But Sergio Capella has come out right in front of Kettle Larson here. These two battling away as they're going up on this run into turn 2. Is Capella going to give the Larson the inside line? Well, he gave him the doors wide open. He invited him into his house. And Larson didn't take the opportunity. So Sergio Capella there managing to hold on to ninth place with Kettle Larson in 10th at the moment. So we'll see how that one pans out. Bramer is back out of track battling away with Michael LeMay down in 14th and 15th.
Remember, he was up in P6 before he spun, P6, P7. Even P5, I think we saw him in at some point when he was in the battle with Clark. Here he goes around the outside of LeMay. Not quite able to make that move stick already. He's going to get the outside. He's going to get the better drive out of turn 3. There we go. That is Iwan Bremer up into P14. A long way off of where he was before his spin and before his mistake, but on his way up again, and that's what is important.
Well, the only thing, the problem for Ivan Bremer is that everybody else in front of him has pitted. Capella's in the pits now, so we may be able to jump Capella in 10th. But why he's coming around turn 5, Capella's in the pits, so we're going to see there. Kyrgiakopoulos is going now. He's coming into turn 3, and he's got Nagao and Sedgley into the pits currently at the moment as well.
Well, Kyrgiakopoulos, his last lap time, just to update you guys, 126.06. Last lap time from Daniel Sedgley, who's into the pits now, was a 128.4, 129.1 from Rudolf Nagel. So about 7/10 lost only on the in lap there for Rudolf Nagel, which is an interesting point to point out, or is an interesting fact to point out. And 7/10 is big on an in lap. They say your in and out lap are the most important laps of a race.
Well, this is where it's going to really matter. Sedgley's got out now. Nagal's got out. I don't think Kyrgiakopoulos is close enough, you know. I think he may jump Buson and Dozer, but I think from his point of view, he's lost more time than this man, Rudolf Nagel. He come in right behind him and has lost a good chunk of time there. Round about, giving it a minute to settle down, about 9 seconds. Walters, G as Clark and Larson are battling away as well. Walters has just gone past G. Larson is battling away with Clark. Whoa! G's into the pits. Larson there he kind of didn't make the move, but he just made a nuisance of himself parking his car on the inside there, really, didn't
he? Yeah, well, I want to point out the fact, James, that Denis Kyrgiakopoulos in 3rd, his pit lane time, so not his pit stop time, his pit lane time was 54.6
hold on, Dan.
seconds.
We've got Larsson's trying to make a move round Clark into turn 2. Is he going to be able to do it? He isn't out of there, but he looks like he's going to have a better run on this run down into 3 currently at the moment. Larsson on the left, Clark on the right. Here we go. Let's see how these guys get on, because it's going to be tough, and it's going to be Larsson sweeping around the outside of Paul Clark this time around, and it's a job done for Larsson. I think Clark's going to come back at him, give him another go into 5. He tightened that up. Unfortunately, that's not going to be ideal. He kind of wants to just slot in and take the line there, because it is going to be a little bit of lost time for Paul Clark over Kettle Larsson.
Yeah, well, what I was saying was that Kyriakopoulos, his pit lane time was 54.6 seconds. His pit stop time was 23.33 seconds. If we look at Rudolf Nigel pit lane time, that pit lane time was 48.6, about where everyone else is as well. Daniel Sedgley had a pit lane time of 48.1. But the pit stop time, that's the interesting one, is 17.6 for Rudolf Nigel. And for Dennis Kyriakopoulos, like I said, 23.3. So lost about almost 6 seconds there in only the pit stop on Rudolf Nigel, which is, I think, why he lost most of his time. Without that, he would have been 3 seconds behind him.
Yeah, he would have been, but unfortunately, he lost that time, and now he's going to be struggling to get it back, I think. I can't see how he's going to make it up, to be honest. He's dropped out to 9 seconds now as well. This is a battle with G and LeMay. This is for 3rd in the AMS. So, these guys here, 3rd in the AMS. Battling away there. Michael LeMay in the red, white and blue. Damien G in the white, black and red, of course. So, see how these guys get on and battle themselves away. But what do we think, Dan? How's it going to pan out, do you reckon?
Well, Sedgley, after that pit stop phase, has really said to himself, okay, I'm now going to try and, put this race beyond doubt. Well, 4 seconds was the gap. Nigel was closing in about a tenth or 2 before the pit stop phase, from 2.5 to about 2.2, 2.3. So if he's going to catch at that pace, he's nowhere near, or that's nowhere near going to be enough to catch Daniel Sedgley at the end of this race. The gap about 4 seconds, 3.9 to be exact, and well, he was catching with about the 10th lap, and I don't think we will have 39 laps left.
Yeah, lap 47, 23 minutes remaining, and it is Damien G battling away with Michael LeMay. We've got Kettle Larsson, who is trying to gap at the moment behind him, the I-Lounge Racing of Paul Clark. And but David G and Michael LeMay are still here for 3rd in the AMS currently. This could be vital for the team points, especially with Truby out at the moment.
Yeah, well, team championship is still pretty close in the mid-pack. And, well, every point is won there. So, yeah, all teams quite close to each other.
Yeah, it's vital in the AMS because obviously Radsport, Simracing and Two Brothers Racing are top of the timing tower in the AMS. So it's quite important for them guys to try and really keep as many gaps, as many points over the other one as possible. And at the moment, they've got the Gal coming up behind them, and they're battling each other here as well. So it's going to be how they're going to let this go, whether or not Damien G is going to stay in front right round to the start and finish straight, and try and lose as little time as possible to Michael LeMay, because LeMay's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to, at one point or another, move over for Nigel, but just how they're going to achieve this in a way that doesn't lose the most amount of time. Nigel takes his normal line around the outside. Damien G gives him that line. So onwards and upwards for Nigel as he's now chasing down Michael LeMay to put a lap over on Michael as well.
Yeah, well, he's looking closer. The thing is with Nagal and Sedgley, the pace that those guys are running is incredible. Last time round for Daniel Sedgley at 25.8. That is with more fuel in the car now. Quickest lap time for Daniel Sedgley at 25.0. Quickest lap time for Rudolf Nagal at 24.97. The only one together with Mike Buson into the 24s. All the rest is either in a 25 or a 26 with their fastest lap time.
Yeah, the fastest times are on the left-hand side there, attached on the timing tower. Damien G and Michael LeMay have resumed their battle. So they, obviously where LeMay moved over and allowed Miguel through, they have come back together again. The gap up front, mind you, 4 seconds, 10 seconds to Kyriakopoulos. There was a chunk of time lost by Kyriakopoulos there when he took that pit stop early, Dan.
Well, time easily lost, you know, in the pit lane with just a 2 second longer of a stop, which usually on track, you know, 2 seconds you would say is not much. But with the pace that they're running all through this field, you try and be 2 seconds quicker than someone else. You have to be Daniel Sedgley or Rudolf Nagal or one of the top 3 really to be 2 seconds quicker than someone like Stefan Mellers or Stefan Capella.
Sandro Capella even.
Yes, Sandro Capella, and well, you know, that just tells you how close this field spread is.
Yeah, it does. This gap come down here between Bremer and Rollerson. Bremer has just made the move past Rollo. That was into turn for P11. So Bremer has now battled his way back up into 10th. Stephen placing in the pits again for the second time this evening.
I can look. Stephen Place. That is his second pit stop, indeed.
Stop, or is that a drive-through? He's got a drive-through.
Oh, he's been naughty out on track. He's been getting off tracks.
Yeah, first one on 15 incident points, and that is Stephen Place. Naughty boy taking a drive-through here this evening. However, according to my timing software, he isn't the only one. There is a lot of people that, according to my software, should be taking a drive-through. I don't
think you can take that software for granted, because people that have off-track counts, let me take a look, because of course people have very high off-track counts, and the highest is 36, which is Rudolf Nagal actually. So with 36 off-tracks, I think that you would surely been into the pit lane about 3-4 times now for a drive-through.
But it's every 15, isn't it? So
I don't know what it is after 15.
According to you, you've got 36. I've got 56 for Rudolf Nagal. And I've got 25 for Paul Clark. 49 for Jacek Zelenka. So I think somewhere along the line our software is out as Larson goes past David Walters. That's Kettle Larson up into 5th place. Won't be the last. Chuck the software in the bin. Well, if I did that, John, you wouldn't be able to see anything. No, I can't do that.
I don't think that would look nice.
No. A plain screen of racing. This is literally what you'd be staring at, not knowing what's going on or who you are looking at, John. So we can't do that. We need to give you something, some bit of information. So there we go. But we definitely can't just bin it. But David Walters there, I wonder if he's going to try and come back at Larson. I think from his point of view, Rollo's in the pits as well again.
I have to say there, James, Kettle Larson was of course involved in that first lap incident and is up 5 positions on where he started. He's in 5th place. Remember, he was all the way down in 17th, I think at worst at some point.
Yeah.
So he has worked his way all the way up from P17 to P5. So if you really count the positions gained, he has gained about 12 positions, which is incredible.
David Walters bouncing that car over the curb. Rolliston is in front of Larson. David Rolliston up in 2 seconds in front currently. Of course, from the Tiger team with David Walters. So, see here. I'm sure Rollo's not going to do anything. He's probably just going to move his car straight over. Kettle was dead last. Yeah, he was. 19th. Yeah, he was down the bottom. Literally spun and it was right at the end. So, but for now, he's now 5th. So technically, that's 14 positions gained for Kettle Larson.
Yeah, doing a tremendous job. And, well, we've seen people gain a lot of positions. I think there are other people in the field where we could say exactly the same from. Mike Bousson, I think he hasn't had, I think he has had a trouble-free race so far. Has been in P4 for quite a long time now.
Oh, he's been in P4 from literally the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really lost or gained anything, to be honest. I think he's just where Mike Bousson... Oh, he's up 1 on his grid slot, but he was just in 4th, and he's been in 4th for pretty much the majority of the race. We still have 15 minutes remaining, of course. There's still time here for something to happen, and anything can happen, and maybe probably will happen here at the Red Bull Ring, broadcast live on the JPB YouTube channel with myself, James Parfitt, and Dan Pepels up in the booth here, bringing you all the action. So if you can give it a thumbs up, subscribe and turn on the bells, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Broke over 566 subscribers this week, so that's absolutely incredible as well. And onwards and upwards on the road to the 1K.
Well, you know, every K is one, and I was 2.3, but I've dropped all the way down to 1.7, I think it is now.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about subscribers on YouTube. You're talking about your iRating.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind.
Can I have a replacement for Dan, please? Is there anyone in the fancies having a crack at it? Just hit me up in DMs. That would be amazing. I'm at 1.3, but then again, yeah, I've stopped worrying about that. I've got to be honest. It's not high on my priority list to think about, you know, how much IR I need to gain or how much I haven't gained or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit out of my headspace currently at the moment. So see there as well. Oh, Larson, you naughty boy. Sent it up the inside of Rollo there. Did not give Rolliston no love. Oh, it was Walters. Was Walters? Looking back at that again, because that looks a bit of a tough. So there we go. There is Larson. Goes round the outside. Oh, there was a lot more room than I gave him credit for, to be honest. So fair play to you, Kettle Larson. Well done. Now up into 5th place and trying to stay in front of David Walters currently, which is the closest battle.
Well, about 13 minutes left here, just a little bit more on the Red Bull Ring. 2.5 tenths is the gap between Larson and Walters, and we have seen quite a lot of big gaps here in this race. You can see the gap at the front. That has come down to 3.2. I think Sedgley may be on the verge of getting that drive-through, having had, some off-tracks maybe, having to drive a little bit safer now. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe just tire life, because they have been on the tires since the beginning of this race. But Walters, this is one of the closest battles, like we said, on track at the moment. He's not going to be able to get past here. He's still a little bit too far back, but he can set him up. You can see using all the road is David Walters compared to Larson. Larson's wide, and he's set him up perfectly. This is what I was talking about. Gets the better exit. It's going to be shown the outside, though, by Larson. Larson's going to keep the inside. He's going to want to keep this inside because he has the ability now to dictate where they're going in this corner. There we go. Walters not brave enough to carry it around the outside there. And if I was Walters, I would have exactly or done exactly the same and backed out there, because that's not a corner. We've seen it a couple of times here this evening as well, where you want to be taking it around the outside of your competitor.
Yeah, I don't think they really liked it. You see the weather's changed a little bit. It's got a little bit overcast here at the moment. It's gone very dark. It's almost like, you know, if it was a normal race, we'd expect it to rain. Because it has gone quite dark, unless my eyes are deceiving me and I need to clean my glasses. But I'm pretty sure somebody's messed up on their pit stop. Or is this a drive-through?
I didn't see him get an off track in the lap we were on. I have a feeling this is a drive-through. He's not peeling into the pit boxes. He stays in the fast lane, and there we go, another one getting to the 15 into the mark. You know what the thing is here, and we've touched on this before, James. It's so easy on this track. Yeah. Like we said, it's so inconsistent. At one point you can go over the white line, you can even go over the curb, and you don't get an off track. And at some point you just have to take a nibble of the curb, and then it's an off track.
Yeah, this is a battle for position. Dozer has just gone past Walters. So that's another one in for a drive-through. He's joined Place and Walters so far. Are the two that have gone in. I think Ruby's out. So I'm wondering if Rollo is out as well. So it isn't going to matter on that one. But it is David Walters and Stephen Place, the two physical ones we've seen here having drive-throughs. So how many more are we going to get? Are we going to get any more before the end? Would it be a disaster if Sedgley and Nagel had them and then Kyriakopoulos come through and took the victory?
That would be a crazy end to what is an amazing race at the moment. I have to say, but yeah, that could well be the case. You know, it's not out of the box yet. People could get off tracks. People could still get 15 off tracks in the last 10 minutes. I've done it. I've even done it in what, 2-3 laps, getting to contact with 3 people at the start, and then just getting off tracks in the 2 laps after. There you go. Up to 14 off tracks already.
Yeah, that's
how easy you get there.
Yeah, you've only got to have two contacts and a run off tracks, and then you've got your 15. So I've got a funny feeling there could be a few more yet. I don't think he's going to be the only one. Rollison is, unfortunately, looked like he's had a crash and he's jumped to the pits. So let's have a look at this.
Oh, what's wide?
Ooh. Yeah, that was where I saw Kettle Larson, and then I think Rollo just parks it and says, "Time's up now, guys."
I've had enough.
So Paul LeMay and Lucas Dozer. Paul Clark's a little bit 7 seconds up the road, but that's not going to really affect this battle that's happening at the moment. There is LeMay from Two Brothers and Lucas Dozer from SimRC. Every point really matters for SimRC. They are battling away with Radline up in the championship standings. We love the Red Bull. Are you convincing yourself, Milo? Is that what you're saying? And Toxic Monkey got to support Arl James. Clearly, Toxic, you must be from up north.
Well, James,
yes.
I think what Miles is saying is that he loves this track, and we've been here in the GR86s, where Miles won 2 of the 4 races on the night. Nice. So, and if you still remember, I don't know. Meanwhile, those are up the inside of Paul LeMay. This is not for position in class, this is just for position overall, because LeMay is in the AM class, leading it comfortably, and Walter's now also getting a nibble at it. But he said that this was his favorite track. I think that's what he means by we're loving the Red Bull Ring.
I don't mind the circuit. I've got to be honest, to drive it, it's a good track. It's just, you stare at one curb and you get an off track, you can go all the way to the right, you get another one. So, you know, it's, yeah,
you know what it is?
What?
If you know where the off tracks are, and if you drive enough laps around here, then you know that. If you know where the off tracks are, James, and I'm looking at you, if you know where the off tracks are, then you also know where not to go. So,
I do, but
in that case,
I'm not an expert driver, so it happens, doesn't it?
well, practice makes perfect. You know what they say? Just put more practice in. If you have time. If you have time, of course. I know you're a very, very busy man. But if you have time, put more practice in.
I like the man who presumes I've got time. I've only got time to do one race per week, and that's my Monday touring car. So, yeah, I don't have time for much else. Oh, LeMay and Walters nearly come together there. You can see LeMay is leading the Ams by 31 seconds. Sedgley leading the pros by 3 seconds. So them guys, they're battling away, but it is David Walters through. It's no skin off LeMay's nose. He's still winning over his brother. So, Toxic, you're from Yorkshire. I thought you was. Well, I didn't think you were from Yorkshire. I just presumed you were from up north because nobody down south says R. James. You know what I mean? The track is fun. It's just those off tracks. Looking through safety baiting this week in officials, it's like that for everyone. Yeah, it seems to be. The only problem with this track, I think, the inconsistencies of it. But, you know, as you say, if you don't want to get off tracks, don't go off track. Stick within the white and the black stuff, and then you'll be all right. So,
at some corners.
Oh yeah, at some corners, of course. There we go.
On this track.
5:31 remaining. We've got Sedgley, Nagel, Kyriakopoulos, Brousson, Larson, Clark, Dozer, Walters, May, Bramer are your top 10 and all pros. Then we've got LeMay, G, Capella in the AM.
I want to correct you there, James. Paul LeMay, also in the top 10.
No, he's in 9th, sorry.
Not a pro driver.
Yeah, all right.
Not a pro driver. So Paul LeMay doing a tremendous job here in the AM class.
Very much so. Well done, Paul LeMay. Stellar. If you don't want them, be slow. Well, it's better than getting drive-throughs and whatnot, mate. You know, you gotta think of the pluses. Does it outweigh the negatives? You know, that's the way I look at it. Is
if you're having fun, you know, in the end, if you're not having fun while you're driving, you're not gonna drive a lot. So it's almost a must in order for you to have fun because you're gonna drive more, and that's always better.
what, taking off tracks?
No, it's not better to take off tracks, but you know, sometimes you just have to put them away, which I find that I can't do myself because I'm a very statistically or number-driven person. So if I see my rating going down or see the number being red after the race, then I'm not happy. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just have to have fun as well and just have to not think about the off tracks. Yes, you do have to keep it within the limit, but you don't have to be like, oh, that's not good. I got an off track every time you get an off track, you know. Sometimes just, yeah, it happens, move on.
Yeah, not everybody does that.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes it's a bit so.
Whoa.
Another pit stopper.
Whoa. Is this going to be another one?
I have a feeling it is.
Mellis is still.
You're not going to make a pit
first.
stop, right? Sorry?
No, Mellis still in the. Oh, he is. Oh, I wrote his name down. It's going on the drive-through. Maybe he just needed a splash and dash at the end there. Possibly may have got a little bit wrong, Stefan Mellis.
It's quite a long splash and dash for the last 3 minutes, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That is a long old stop. A little bit bizarre. But Stefan Mellis still stopped. Turn the button off, mate. Turn the button off. Been in the pit box for about 48 seconds so far. It's still going, so maybe it's an issue there that we can't see. Potentially out in front now by 3.6 seconds. We're going to have this one and one more. So another two, sorry. This one and two more, because he's going to go again and then he'll go again. So and then we could have come to the end. So that would put us at about lap 6. Definitely not James May. I am.
Well, he lapped up.
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
No, you carry on.
Well, he's lapped up to P10 Iwan Bremer now, because Iwan Bremer is behind him. That's just the sheer pace that these guys are having at the moment. So is Daan Rudolf Nagal. That gap was at some point down to about 2.9, 2.5 seconds in between that region, but it's gone up back to 4.5. Then essentially said, okay, now fuel saved, tires saved enough, I can be pedal to the metal now for the rest of this race. And I think, well, that maybe it was a managing game by Daniel Sedgley over Nagal, managing that gap like we see, not pushing the tires too hard, keeping the life in the tires, and maybe saving some fuel as well for the end of the race.
Yeah, maybe. Just have to see here what he does. To be honest, he's flying along. He's 4.3 seconds. He's going to be on the final lap of the race in a minute as well. So, from his point of view, he's done and dusted this, as long as he doesn't get off track and do something silly at the end, Let's hope he doesn't.
What do you want to say? Like maybe get a drive-through?
Oh, that would spice it up, wouldn't it? But the problem is you can't get a drive-through on the final lap, can you? Because it'll be added as a penalty, wouldn't it?
I think so. If you get a drive-through on the last lap, you can try and go into the pit lane. But as far as I know, you go across the line before you get to the exit of pit lane when the penalty is being cleared.
So it's a penalty, isn't it?
I think
penalty for the amount of time you got to stop and go.
I don't know, to be honest.
Sure.
It is definitely, well, maybe it's the length of the average time it takes to get from pit in to pit out. Maybe that's the amount of seconds you get at it.
Maybe. Who knows? We've got 12 seconds remaining. Daniel Sedgley is going to come across the line. He is currently coming around turn 5. Here. There he is. On turn 6. For the final time this evening, guys. Don't forget to go and hit us up over on Instagram. We're still on the giveaway. When we reach 300 followers, we will give away £50 worth of iRacing dollars. So if you haven't followed, please do, but don't forget to follow, like, and share. As my social media manager, the wife, has told me. Must share. Daniel Sedgley is going to take the victory here at the Red Bull Ring. Led pretty much from start to finish, and he did do a stellar job there. Slight battle in the middle with Rudolf Nagal. So I'm going to write these down, and I'm just hoping they all come across as they are. Kyria, I'm just going to write Kyria because I can't ever spell Kopolis. It's such a long name, it takes ages. Then it's Kyriakopoulos with his very tricky long name. I couldn't even say it the first time he got on track, mind you, so I think the fact I'm getting it right is amazing. But David Walters here, can he get Paul LeMay at the end? Can David Walters get Paul LeMay? What do we reckon? 8 attempts back? Can't see it myself. Go on,
no, not in this part of the track.
No. Go on, Sedgley, lads, is toxic in YouTube. So well done to Daniel Sedgley. No, I think this is going to be LeMay across the line. Kettle Larson's going to come over the line. Done an absolute stellar job back up into 5th place. Paul Clark in 6th. Lost a little bit of places there as well. So Paul Clark down 3, but still finishes 6th. Lucas Doza coming across the line in 7th. There is LeMay. There is Walters, 8th and 9th respectively. And the last of the runners here this evening. So there we go, guys. All done and dusted. And your results, Dan, are on your screen. Off you go.
Well then, we saw it. Daniel Sedgley won the race. And it's, well, you could almost say finally, once again, not Rudolf Nagal who wins this race. It is, however, Daniel Sedgley, his third victory. He won in round 4, won in round 5, and now once again here in round 9 at the Red Bull Ring. Rudolf Nagal is in 2nd. The 2nd time he's been there. Dennis Kyriakopoulos in 3rd, ahead of Mike Boson. Kettle Larson in P3. P6 for Paul Clark. Lucas Dolzer in P7. Then the first of the AM drivers, Paul LeMay. What a drive from him. Up in P8 overall. First of the AM class. David Walters P9. Iwan Bremer P10. An unlucky race for him, had a spin coming down out of turn 4. And then, of course, had a little incident earlier on in the race as well. Went into pit lane very early and, had to make his way back up the order from there on in. Michael LeMay in P11, second in the AM class. So both LeMay brothers finished P1 and P2. So it's LeMay P1 and P2. Damien G in third in the AM class, 12th overall. Sandro Capella in 13th. 14th is Stephen Place, 15th. Stefan Meles, 16th. Dave Rolliston, 17th. Gary Truby, 18th. Jacek Zelonka, and 19th. Daniele Cascado, DNFing or retiring this race on lap number 12.
There we go. All done and dusted there as well. 1, 2, 3, Frank. Is Rudy Nagao now the champion? We'll wait for the official results to come out because it does depend a lot on, they get a pole. Did get the fastest lap of the race. Sedgley got the pole, so that's officially for Daniel Sedgley about 51 points. So going into this one was, as I frantically find the standings up before this result. To be fair, I could just do it this way. So Daniel Sedgley was a lot further back. It was Mike Bousson that would have made the difference. Bousson in 4th. Sedgley would have got 51 on top of that, so that gives him 426. Bousson on in is down in 4th place, which gained him 37. So 317, 37, that would have put him at 449. 449, 45 for Nagao is 556. So yes, give or take, Bousson nearly literally has to win both, get pole and the fastest lap in the next 2 races to even remotely stop, and Rudolf Nagao doesn't need to get any. So pretty much Rudolf Nagao is pretty much the champion here. We will wait for the final confirmation because, as I say, there are bonus points to add as well. So we will bring you an announcement next time out at the Legacy Silverstone Circuit, which will be in 2 weeks' time. Let's have a look and we can have a quick chat with Rudolf Nagao now. Good evening, Mr. Nagao. How are you, sir?
Yeah, fine. And you?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm always good. Just watched you and Daniel Sedgley had a great race, and Dan come out on top this time. Was you struggling at all around here, or did you just not have the pace or tyre wear? What was the situation?
No, I think pace was not bad. Daniel was very quick. Congratulations to him. It was an interesting race. It was not boring for me. he was fast at the straight. I think he ran lower wing. I go no risk with the setup. I want to end this race and save the championship. But he was quicker today.
Yeah, well, basically on the championship, we have sort of taken into consideration your points from this one, possible points from the last 2 rounds. It's pretty much a fair shoo-in that you are the champion. I don't think you can be caught unless Mike Bousson pulls out something extraordinary over the next 2 races and you don't score any points. There's a slight chance that Mike can catch you, but I think, to be honest, Rudolf, I could probably safely say that you are the champion for this season of the Radical Simracing Endurance Series.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. As I say, bar literally a flat-out miracle. I don't think anything can happen. But, we will wait for the officials scoring to come out from Sandro anyway, just in case there is something that I've missed. But as I say, I think we can safely say congratulations. You've done a stellar job all season, really.
I don't understand the question.
You've had a really good season to be taking the championship with 2 rounds remaining.
Yeah. It's the championship. It runs all to me. I have every time luck and strategy. Was always good, but always the same. I think. Yeah.
Well,
but
Sorry, go on.
Today it was interesting race. It was not boring. I tried to make the same and save tires, but I think Daniel also saved tires. Maybe after the stop my tires were a bit better, but I have to push and after a few laps I cannot close the gap. So I give up in the last 2 rounds and okay, he was quicker today.
Yeah, definitely on that one. Well, Rudolph, thank you very much for joining me. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, all the watch the broadcast. I hope the people watch the broadcast, enjoy it, like the drivers, and yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, have you finished, or is there only somebody else?
Yeah, finished.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rudolph, and I'll look forward to maybe having a chat with you in 2 weeks' time at the Legacy Silverstone circuit.
Yeah, I hope so. I like Silverstone.
Should be a good one. Take care, buddy. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Right, let's bring in Paul LeMay into the booth. Of course, Paul went in to this round with the lead in the AMS. I'm pretty sure I can safely say that's probably wrapped it up for Paul LeMay as well. So good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm not so bad, mate. Yourself?
Wonderful. Dude, I'm always good, and I've just come in. I've just sat here. I watched 90 minutes of great racing. I've watched the fact that I think both championships are wrapped up with 2 rounds to go. I think it is bar some short of a shy miracle that you've probably not taken the AM Championship at the same time that Rudolf Nagel has probably wrapped up the Pro Championship, to be fair.
Yeah. It was a tough race. It's so difficult to be consistent, you know, and that's one area I've been trying to work in, but at the same time trying to sort of get further up the field. But yeah, it's hard work. These guys are super fast.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think it's going to be where you guys now, whether or not you and your brother can wrap up the team's championship. As I say, you went in to this one were in the lead by what's that, 40
odd points, wasn't it?
52 points. Asking me to do quick maths at this time of the evening, Paul. How dare you? 52 points. So I think because Gary didn't finish this one, I think you possibly could have wrapped that up as well. So it could be a LeMay double.
Okay. That'd be great. That'd be superb.
Yeah, I think you outscored them, but we have got 2 rounds remaining, so that team championship might be a little bit closer. But I think, to be honest, I think you have wrapped up the championship. I think it's very tough for Damien G to catch you now.
Yeah, Damien didn't have a good one at all, did he?
No, but he finished 3rd overall.
Overall in class, yeah.
Overall in class, yeah. So, he does score a nice little chunk of points, but as I say, I think the fact of what you scored and that, I don't think he is able to catch you. But, Paul, how tough was it here at the Red Bull Ring?
It's every race is tough. It's just, as I said to you, it's just trying to keep a nice sort of rhythm and trying to really sort of keep the guys that are in, sort of up in the championship as far back as possible. Dave Rolliston was sort of around where I was first part of the race, so I was always a little bit concerned because he's pretty rapid.
Yeah, Rollo was. Unfortunately, he was involved in that incident with Ivan Bramer on lap 30.
Oh, no.
Going into turn 4. Rollo was on the inside, Bramer was on the outside. Rollo's rear end went, and he slid it into Bramer. But, it's one of them things. It happens, doesn't it? And it's happened to all of us at some point. So, going forward, though, are you excited for the Legacy Silverstone circuit in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, absolutely love it there. Fantastic track. Yeah, it's just nice, fast, and I kind of like the last sector, even though it's sort of tight and twisty. But overall, I think it's a really good track.
Yeah, it will be.
Should be fun.
It definitely will be. It's always fun. So we'll hopefully see some nice close racing again. Paul, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth again this evening?
Yeah, my son Ruben. I think he's just passed his grade 5 piano.
Wow. Go on there, buddy.
So,
how old is he?
He's 14.
Well done to Ruben there for passing that.
Yeah, so he's got a happy dad.
I bet he has, and he joins the top 5%. And now I learnt this stat the other day, actually. Only 5% of the world's population can actually play a musical instrument.
Really?
I found that out from
interesting fact.
I did, yeah, and I found it out from my trumpet
Yeah.
teacher,
All right.
who's wasted about 3 years when he's in school with me, teaching the kids to try and teach me trumpet. I still sometimes sound like a screaming cat, but there are some notes I can play. So overall, it's good. But well done,
Good stuff, mate.
Yeah, good job. Tell him well done, and he joins top 5% of the population. So
I will do, James. Yeah.
congratulations on that one, buddy. And I look forward to hopefully having a chat with you soon, as always, Paul.
Yep. Okay, James. Take care, mate.
And you, man. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Right, and the third and final interview this evening is your third place man, Dennis Kyriakopoulos. Good evening, Dennis. How are you, sir?
Hello, James. I'm really so exhausted and so happy with the result.
What happened in the pit stop? Because you lost a chunk of time. You went in behind Nagel and you come out about 6-7 seconds back.
Yeah, it was a nightmare because for some reason I calculated the fuel with the 130 lap times. And suddenly I realized we're not doing 130, we're doing 124s, 125s. So I was trying to do math during the race. So I was doing math in the straights because when it was in turns, it was a nightmare. And my math was not very good. I added, I think, something like 10, 12 liters too much.
Yeah.
It cost me some lap time. And also the pit entry was quite bad. I almost went too far and I didn't want a penalty. So that explains it.
Okay. Just imagine you trying to do maths on the straight at the Red Bull Ring during the race. I'm struggling to drive in a straight line, mate, let alone try and do math at the same time. But well done you for giving it a good old go, Dennis. You know, how tough was it, 90 minutes around the Red Bull Ring?
It's hard, and also you know how it is with the 1X, and it's very easy to get a penalty.
Oh, how close was you?
It was okay. I had 10X,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did most in the first 20 laps when I was tracing top two, Rudolf and Daniel. And I was pushing so hard, it was very easy to do 1Xs here and there, so I had to pay a bit more attention later.
I bet it did. But Dennis, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you and having a chat with you as always. I'm sure I'll chat to you before the 2 weeks for the next round at the Silverstone. But is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, before my man Mike Busson, he was chasing me. This time I was faster, so I hope he will hear that.
Sure he will. If you don't, I'll message him and send him the clip of you saying it. But thank you, Dennis, so much for joining me as always, buddy. And I'll look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Right. Well, there you go. We're back now with myself and Dan as we close out the show. You know, they both see everybody seemed upbeat. You know, I think it is a tough one for anybody to catch Paul Lemay, especially Damien G in the AM Championship, and I think it's even tougher for them. I think Nagel has wrapped up the pros as well, so maybe it has. We have seen a night here of the two championships signed, sealed, and delivered, and dusted and done. But you know, we've still got the legacy. We've still got the Nordschleife to go in 4 weeks' time there at the Nordschleife circuit. Overall, though, I think as the season's gone on, the standard of racing has just got better and better and better. The standard of competition throughout this endurance series has improved massively as well. And there isn't any disrespect to anybody that's taken part in the championship before. I'm just saying that the current block of drivers that we've got in the championship are absolutely outstanding. And I think that could only be a testament to the work that Sandro and his team does in the background for the league in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you know, Paul Lemay, Rudolf Nagel, they've been very, very good in the championship. Quick, consistently, always up there. Well, in their own respective classes. Of course, for Paul Lemay, it's way more difficult to win overall races with guys like Rudolf Nagel, just all those quick guys ahead of him. But like today, it's shown that with a P8 or P9, I don't know exactly what it was, but he's up there. He can finish in the top 10. And also today, I think we had 5 retirements or 4 retirements, and they were all AM class drivers. So that made it a little bit easier for the competition to score a little bit more points. But yeah, just tremendous job from both of these guys. And well, as you can see, they're leading the championship. They're quite demanding.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is going to be done and dusted there, guys. But thank you so much to everybody that's joined us. Lasse Sorensen, Toxic Monkey, 123, Miles Owens as well, and anybody else that I've missed. John McHutchinson, thank you so much again. Svenja Matheson, Diego Zuccarelli. Ivan Bramer popped in a little bit earlier on as well. But I think, guys, that's time for us to close this show because it has been absolutely amazing. Don't forget, at 1:45 in the morning, if you are in the UK, if you are still up, come and join me for the LSRL GT3s from Alton Park. That should be an absolute stellar job. And don't forget, tomorrow night, you've got me back driving the Audi TCR, this time from Okayama. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not great, but I'm better at Okayama than I was at, some of the others tracks that we've been to, especially Virginia. Didn't like that one whatsoever. That
You know what the problem is, James?
What, me driving?
Usually everyone else... No, not that, James. You're a good enough driver, but the problem is that usually other people are faster at that track as well. It's a track that we know as iRacers very well. Almost everyone has been at that track. If you haven't been at that track, where have you been in iRacing? Because that's where usually the rookie series, the MX-5s, the GR86s, every series goes to that track at least once on the calendar. So, yeah.
It will be a tough one, but I'm going to enjoy it. Going to enjoy it. So catch me tomorrow night in the GR86. So that should be not the GR. Yeah, no, sorry, the Audi TCR. So that's what I'm driving tomorrow night with the All Sports Racing team with Morgan Burkhardt and Jake Cranstone. You may see them at the top of the timing tower while I'm just covering up the middle. That's all I'm going to say on that one, guys, as well. But thank you so much for joining us here this evening. And as always, for myself and Dan Pepels, you take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on a track sometime. Good night.